This video is brought to you by Loot Crate. Head today to lootcrate.com/reviewtechusa and enter the code RTU to save 10% on any subscription plan. Skip it up and that up. So Nintendo is sort of coming out with the next gen 3DS. They announced it just this morning. The original 3DS came out only around 3 years ago. Then they came out with the 3DS XL. I made a very unpopular video talking about my feelings on the 3DS XL. Then they came out with the 2DS, which actually I thought that was a pretty good idea. Now they're saying they're coming out with a new version of the 3DS and 3DS XL in Japan on October 11th, and it will make its way overseas sometime in 2015. So what the hell is so quote-unquote new about the new 3DS is coming out? You can expect 2 more shoulder buttons. It will have colored face buttons, a micro SD slot, better processing power, and a second analog stick that is more like a C-stick from the GameCube from back in the day than an actual thumb pad, which if you look at the picture right here, I'm kind of about it. I mean, it's another thumbstick, but it's small and yeah, don't know how well that second analog nub is going to fare when you have games that require it, but hey, maybe it's a lot more comfortable than it looks. Who knows? The pricing of these new 3DS models seems to be $150 for the smaller 3DS and $200 for the new 3DS XL. Now, do I hate that Nintendo's doing this and coming out with a semi-next gen 3DS? No, but I gotta still scratch my head, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to love these new 3DS models either. See, I still hold to the fact that back when they came out with the 3DS XL, or even from the get-go when they first came out with the 3DS, this is what the 3DS should have been. It should have had the extra trigger buttons on the back. It should have had the extra analog stick. It should have had all these extra features, even the micro SD slot. These are all things that were still relevant in 2011, but because Nintendo is stubborn and thick-headed, they always go down this unbeaten full derp path and do things ass backwards compared to everybody else. Now, I know what the defense is going to be, is that, Rich, they're not going for those hardcore games like Sony did with the Vita, and look, Sony's giving up on the hardcore market with the Vita, but it's not even about the hardcore games. It's just about making the 3DS more functional. Having the extra trigger buttons and the extra analog stick would make even like casual games that young 8 and 9-year-old girls play more functional, so they could just change camera angles easier. It's just, these are things you would have expected the 3DS to have as a portable console released in 2011. You expected it to have these things from the beginning, and now they're coming out with what the 3DS should have been 3 years later. On top of it too, games that come out for this new semi-next generation 3DS, even though it's not really a next-gen system, it's just more functional, there are going to be games coming out for it that won't be compatible with the previous generation 3DS. It's not even previous generation, they're just adding more buttons, like Xenoblade Chronicles is coming to this new 3DS. If you have an old 3DS, you can't play it on there. And I'm sure other games are going to follow suit too. So now you have this console that's only been out for 3 years and change that is already obsolete, and you're going to have this split market now of people who own the new 3DS and people who own the old one, and your old 3DS is going to become a paperweight barely 3 years after it's been released. Nintendo, what the hell are you thinking? You know what? This thing's probably going to sell well. It's a portable Nintendo product, and it's probably going to fly off the shelves. And I'm sure it's going to have great games and all that, but I wish, Nintendo, you wouldn't be so thick-headed. I wish you would have released this from the beginning. And I'm sure there is going to be a lot of people out there that are going to feel very bitter, especially if they just bought a 3DS. Like, say you bought a 3DS a couple months ago and you can't return it. I'd be pretty pissed off if I was one of those people. I don't get Nintendo. To me, it feels like you're admitting that you made a mistake with the original design of the 3DS, and you're like, oops, we should have released this one. This is the real 3DS that you should have bought. Sorry, got to spend more money. If this was a true next-gen portable console from Nintendo, I'd probably give them more slack. And you know what? Yeah, it's a better design, and I don't hate these new 3DS models that are coming out, but it was a mistake. They should have made this from the get-go. And Nintendo releasing this really revised 3DS and 3DS XL 3 years and change, only 3 years and change after they originally launched the 3DS, to me is like they're openly admitting they made a huge mistake with the design of the original portable console. Come on, guys, even if you're a diehard Nintendo fan, you gotta agree with me on that one. Alright, folks, this is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one. The preceding video was brought to you by Big Cheese's YouTube channel. For gameplay reviews, gaming music, and vlogs, subscribe to Big Cheese VG. Link below in the description.